Hey everyone, this is Sarah here, and we are going to do a deep dive of whether or not Mr. Beast fakes his videos. I'm accompanied by Triskit. She's a YouTuber, a gamer, um, and we're going to review whether or not he fakes his videos. Of course, everything in this video is speculation. We're just going to have a discussion about it and look at some clips. So, Triskit, if you could introduce yourself.
Hey guys, my name's Triskit. You might have heard of me before, maybe not. I've dabbled in my fair share of content. I've been watching YouTube, God, probably since like 2008. Very early YouTube watcher. Always loved games, always loved content. My first run-in with Mr. Beast, I want to say, was in 2019. So I'm kind of late to his parade, but also he hasn't been on YouTube for super long, so I guess not that late. But yeah, I my initial thought was that his videos were entertaining, very fun to watch, very cool concept, and I've slowly had my opinion has been changed over time because I feel like his stuff is just not adding up anymore,
Right.
and
And
that's
so
what I gotta say about that.
back when Mr. Beast was starting to take off, I was in my 20s, and I remember myself, I was very skeptical. I thought they were fake at first, and so um, when I learned that there was a lot of people saying it was real, that took me by surprise because honestly, a lot of the content I grew up on was indeed fake, and I only realized it more as I got older. And so to me, it was immediately obvious that it was fake. But then I started to question myself when there weren't any exposés or people making videos about how Mr. Beast fakes his videos, at least not in the beginning. And so that took me by surprise. So you were a believer that it was real at first?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm younger than you, and so when I started watching YouTube, I was a bit more naive. And, you know, like I first grew up, and again, a lot of the content that I grew up on was fake as well. Some people might be familiar with McJuggernuggets. He used to make videos about like Psycho Kid destroys TV or Psycho Kid does something crazy. Well, I thought those were so real at first, and I loved them because they was just, I mean, who wouldn't want to watch an outburst of like somebody being destructive? It was entertaining. But as I got older, I realized this stuff is really fake. And it made me realize, even though it could seem real at first, when you actually apply, your brain and you think about it, you're like, hold on, that doesn't add up. That doesn't make sense. You think about how easy it would be to fake it, and it's like, okay, when it's so easy to fake it, then why would it be real? And a lot of those Psycho Kid videos that I used to watch, it's so easy to buy like a fake TV and stuff like, just to cut down the cost of the video. So yeah, I mean, I likewise grew up on fake content, but I always have the inclination to believe that it's real at first until I'm proven otherwise. At least that was definitely how I was before. I'm not so much that anymore, but I still have my moments where I believe it's real and then it turns out not to be. So I'm still a little bit gullible in that regard, but yeah, with Mr. Beast specifically, I thought it was real at first. Definitely thought it was real at first.
And I'd say growing up, I was of the same mindset. I'd think things were real until proven otherwise. I've adopted the opposite mindset on the internet now, where I basically assume everything is not real until proven otherwise. Um,
Right.
you also spoke about an instance or um, a YouTuber or content creator who um, made fake content and how it disappointed you. So you kind of already
hmm
answered my question, but if you want to add another instance, you can. But I'll speak to another instance that you're probably familiar with. It's this couple. They make family videos, and um, they just ooze disingenuousness.
Yeah, there are
Um,
quite a few of those on YouTube nowadays, like a lot, actually a lot. And here's the thing, I think the majority of people think those couples are genuine, and I feel like I'm one of the few who thinks they're all just completely staged.
right, and in one of these instances, you probably remember the name. I don't, but the husband made a video about how he found out that his wife was pregnant before she did.
Oh my
Um,
gosh, yes. I don't remember the name, but I know exactly which situation you're talking about. And
and
guys, if you don't know,
mm,
literally just Google it. Like, I found out my wife was pregnant by putting the pregnancy test in the toilet water or something like that. Like, I don't
right,
remember what he
and
did.
so that's supposedly what he did was had her. She supposedly forgot to flush the toilet after using it. He goes in with a pregnancy test, finds out that she's pregnant before she finds out that she's pregnant, and then supposedly surprises her by breaking the news to her that she's gonna have a baby. And everyone on the internet was eating it up, and I was like, this is the fakest thing I've ever seen. Lo and behold, months later, it came to light that they had fabricated the entire thing.
And she
Um,
was never pregnant, never even pregnant.
oh yeah, not only did they fake that video, they faked her miscarriage as well. And
And that is so messed up. I mean, that is just absolutely sickening to fake that, you know?
and they milked
I mean,
views and
that's
money
yeah.
and sponsorships.
I think that's a really good example of how fake content can go way too far. Because, I mean, honestly, a lot of fake content on YouTube is pretty harmless. Yeah, it's fake and it's still scummy, but it's not causing any harm like a video like that could do where somebody's faking a miscarriage. That's a big deal. That's when it's gone way too far, in my opinion.
So that brings me to our first talking point. What does it mean to fake a video? Because, of course, there's different tiers or levels of how one could fake a video, but um, how would you define someone faking a YouTube video?
So I think in general, this is a very broad definition, but basically I would consider it fake if the content is portrayed in a deceptive way to make it seem genuine to a viewer when it's not as genuine as it claims to actually be. So that could be like in a vast range of severity, obviously. It could be very not like what they claim, or it could be very similar but a little off from what they claim it to be. So there's a big range. Um, I think for when we apply it to Mr. Beast, I think he's definitely not at the severe range, you know. If he is faking, um, I think it's, a little less severe than some other YouTubers have faked their content before, but I mean, it's still faking, it's still being disingenuous, and that's not cool.
I agree. I think faking videos exists on a spectrum. There's not necessarily a clear cut violation of this is fake and this is not fake. For example, someone who just edits their thumbnails to appear fantastical or interesting, but it's not accurate to what's in the video. Fake? Sure, to some degree, but nothing that we would consider disingenuous or inappropriate. Um,
I mean, honestly, all YouTubers nowadays exaggerate their thumbnails. It's become part of the game. I don't know of anybody that I follow that doesn't exaggerate their thumbnails actually, or try to make you like, like they'll blur out the final product to make it like, oh, click on it so you can see. You know what I mean? They use all those tactics, and that is a little bit of fakery, but it's part of the game. It's part of the YouTube hustle.
right. I think disingenuous is really the fundamental focus area for me, as you pointed out earlier. And what I mean by that is if Carl Jobst, who makes content exposing cheaters, if he were to just completely fabricate a scenario where, I don't know, a famous speedrunner like Simply or any of the other famous speedrunners, if he were to fabricate a scenario where they supposedly cheated and it wasn't based on any actual substantial evidence or information, I would consider that disingenuous and fake. But if he just
Yes.
edits his thumbnail and puts some odd glitch or something to that effect that would indicate that that might be the methodology of cheating utilized in the video, but it has nothing to do with what was actually done, I wouldn't consider that fake, even if it's not accurate.
Yeah, I mean I mean, I feel like when we talk about fakeness, we're past talking about clickbait. Clickbait is such a minor offense, in my opinion. We're talking about within the actual contents of the video, is what he's saying happening actually what's happening, or is he lying a little bit, you know? That's what we're talking about when we ask if a video is fake.
Right. Do you think Mr. Beast fakes his videos?
You know, I'm at the point where honestly I can just say overall I'm not too sure, and that's why I'm excited to analyze this stuff with you a little more in depth today because I'm really torn on a lot of this stuff. I mean, you have a lot of people who say, yes, I received the money. Yes, I actually, like I was a part of the video, it was real. But you also have some people who say, no, it's fake, who were in the videos. You also have people who say it's scripted. And there are some moments that look pretty scripted to me. There's a lack of transparency in some of his things. We'll delve into that later. Um, so overall, I'm undecided. However, I have decided that he definitely does at least exaggerate stuff. That's evidenced by his thumbnails and also by, there's like some challenge or whatever where he had like money in a cage and they were like, okay, if you can protect the cage with the money in it, and we're gonna blow it up if the money's in there and it's safe, then you can have it. That was clearly like not real money. It's illegal to destroy real money, so that would have to be prop money. But I feel like he's not that transparent about the fact that he does use prop money. So it's like, okay, is that lying? Is that deception? The fact that some of his viewers wouldn't know that that's prop money, I don't know. I think it is a little bit deceptive. I mean, I think it's better than using real money, of course, but I wish he was more transparent about it.
Yeah, and you made an excellent point. Is it scripted? Would you consider a scripted video fake?
You know, if the so I would say if the content of the video hinges on somebody's reaction or hinges on something unexpected happening and that specific moment is scripted, yes, it's 100% fake. Um, for example, I'll refer back to the McJuggernuggets videos that I watched. The reaction of the family members when the psycho kid would destroy the stuff was a major part of the video. And for me to learn that those reactions were scripted made the entire thing fake. The entire entertainment value hinged on how his family members reacted to him destroying the stuff. So when you find out that's not real, then the entire video is not real at that point. It's just
Right.
it's like it's like you're watching a TV show or a movie, it's fake.
So we're going to get to the Pansino situation in a bit, I'm sure. But for example, what if here I'll give you a scenario and you tell me fake or not fake, or if it is fake, what percent towards completely fake would you put this? Let's say
Okay.
Mr. Beast has a competition. He invites 10 people to compete for a prize, and in the video, what we don't see is that he has already prearranged who's going to be the top three for that video, for marketing purposes or whatever. It doesn't really matter. So regardless of how anyone actually performs, they're not going to impact the top three, but it'll impact spots 1 through 6. Um, would you consider that fake, not fake, or where on the spectrum would you put it?
I would consider that very fake. Um, Largely because the top three is the most important positions, obviously, and the fact that you know the people competing might not be aware that he's already fixed those spots makes it even more deceptive. But even if everybody was in on it, let's say everybody was in on it and he already picked out a top three, then there's no competition anymore. The competition aspect that people are so excited to see, ooh, I wonder if my favorite YouTuber or favorite competitor is actually gonna make it through and make it to the top. Well, none of that matters anymore because he already picked who's going to and who's not. That's clearly fake. There's no competition. They're just playing so that it looks like it's a competition when really it's not. There's no competition if they've already picked the top three.
And so, what level of fakery would you put that at?
Um, I mean, honestly, that's about as well. I don't want to say that's as fake as you can get because it is a spectrum, but it's definitely above average level of fakery because the entire premise of the video falls apart at that point. Like I said, it's not like a harmful level of fakery. It's not like something super serious, you know what I mean? It's just a competition, but it is a fixed competition, which is fake. I mean, so
Right.
I would say pretty high, but not in a harmful way, like the situation we had thought of earlier.
So, I mean, I agree that it It could be faked more, of course, but
Hmm.
getting to your underlying point, which is it's no longer actually a competition. It's not what it's portraying itself to be. I would I would just flat out say completely fake. I don't care if aspects of it are real or authentic. I would consider that completely fake because it's not a
Yeah.
competition. So,
And I was hedging on saying completely fake because, like you said, there are some aspects of it that could still be real, even if it is fixed, a fixed competition. But like I also said, the premise of the video falls apart if it is fixed. So I can also get behind saying it's totally fake at that point.
okay, another scenario. Let's say he has the same competition, except none of the spots are rigged. However, instead of giving away $500,000 or whatever the prize is, he claims he gives them $500,000, but actually no money is actually given. Fake or real?
That's fake. I would say hands down that's fake. Um, because again, it's disingenuous. You're watching these people thinking that they're going to compete for a life-changing amount of money, and then to find out there is no money and that these people's lives didn't get changed, it completely changes the weight that you're feeling while you're watching that video. You're actually rooting for these people to get an amount of money that, could turn their life around, and then you find out they're not getting it. That's a huge impact on the entertainment value and also on the legitimacy of the video. So I would say it's fake if he claims that he gave money and he did not give money.
Okay, last
Oh,
hypothetical. Go
and
ahead.
sorry, not to mention, normally in those titles he'll say like giving away 500 grand. He'll say that stuff like not 500 grand, that's a lot. But like in the title it's like winner gets $10,000. Okay, well you're making the video about the $10,000, so it better be in there. It better
Oh,
be in the video.
well, you said 500 grams a lot, but I've got two of his thumbnails pulled up here out of four videos, and two out of the four say protect $500,000 and keep it, or survive
Oh,
a
really?
hundred
Oh,
days
wow.
trapped, win
Okay.
$500,000. So it wasn't too
Okay.
bogus of a hypothetical.
At first I said it, I was like, oh man, that's way too much.
And so that's the last hypo I want to give you is let's say he's claiming to give $500,000 away, but instead everyone knows in who's competing that they're actually only competing for $50,000. Fake or real?
Hmm. I mean, that is still fake. However, it's less fake. Well, yeah, I mean, it's less fake, I would say. The only reason I say it's less fake is because then he's not duping any contestants, right? The contestants are aware of what's going on and they would be compensated still. Um, just but it's fake in the portrayal of it. It's still fake to the viewer. The viewer does not know the information that it's actually a lesser amount. The viewer thinks it's a huge amount. So it's almost the same as the previous example. It's not as bad as no money, but it is still pretty bad, my opinion.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that?
It's hard to draw the line because we might say, oh, 50,000 is still a lot. It's basically real. They're still competing. Nothing is impacted other than the prize. But then where do you draw the line? Like you said, if it was no prize, that'd be different, and especially if it's $5, that's different.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'd say very very fake if the money is significantly different than what's advertised, but not completely fake. Um,
I think I want to touch on this before we actually get into his videos. Some fakeness is okay. I think that some things that are transparently fake are fine. Like I said, the fake money, I don't have a problem with the fake money. I also don't have a problem with people who make fake content but are transparent about the fact that it's fake content. That's fine. It's the people who build their entire channel based on this content that people think is genuine, but it's completely fabricated. There's no truth to it whatsoever. That's different from somebody who makes the occasional fake video or occasionally exaggerates their content. No, these people have empires on just completely untrue stuff. And that's the biggest problem here today.
yeah, and that was actually the one of the first topics we were going to talk about is it bad to fake videos? And it's interesting because Mr. Beast blew up or got big in a time where most people or a lot of content creators were actually fabricating, embellishing, exaggerating, or just flat out lying and faking videos,
Yeah.
whether it's speed runs.
And I feel like it's not I feel like only in the past couple years have people started to uncover those people from like 2016 and 2017. It's taken a
Absolutely.
long time. And actually, I've noticed that in the past couple of years, debunking videos has become so popular. With the dream situation, like you said, Carl Jobst, he makes really great videos about fake speedrunning specifically. But there are other channels that cover more than just fake speedrunning. Um, but those channels have only really blown up very recently, like in the past couple years. So people are starting to catch on to this that people fake their videos.
The interesting thing about those videos is you'll read the comments and everyone's like, "Oh, it's so obvious that they cheated. I can't believe like anybody who's actually doing it authentically, you wouldn't be able to get caught." Or uh, the problem is that everyone thinks it's obvious when people cheat, and sure, when you uncover it, sure, it's obvious at that point.
Hmm.
But the thing is, if it was so obvious, why didn't all the pros, why didn't all the other speedrunners, why didn't anyone else catch it for the past 20 plus years?
Yeah, I mean, there's been like I think one of Carl's recent videos was about Trackmania, and he had been cheating for like 3 years straight, just like super blatantly. But everybody was like, "Oh, it was so obvious." But it's like, no, it clearly was not obvious, y'all. Like you missed it. You missed it big time. Um, so I fully expect this trend to keep happening where people keep, finding these videos that they think are so obviously fake, but actually it fooled people for 10 plus years, like you said. I think what it is people just don't want to admit when they've been duped. And so they act like it was obvious when really they got duped.
Yeah, exactly. I think people's pride and egos are in play when they finally realize that someone's been lying for years or decades even, and it only recently comes to light that they were cheating. Everyone wants to believe that no one's cheating until it's exposed, but that's not the case. I can only imagine what percent of videos have been undetected as cheats or lies
Oh
or
yeah. I
fakes.
mean, you want me to answer seriously? I think in at least the speedrunning realm, there are so many cheaters that are I mean, I can't even I couldn't put a number on it. I honestly could not tell you how many people I think are cheating, but I think it's an exorbitant amount because cheating on a video game when you can edit the video and the recording and you don't have to perform live, that'd be so easy. That'd be so easy to fabricate, you know? And I don't think people realize just how easy it would be to fake those speedruns.
Yeah, they want to think, oh, the best of the best would never do that. Well, turns out the best of the best are the ones who are actually good or better or ideal for
I mean,
cheating.
yeah, that's exactly what Carl said in one of his videos. He said that being good at the game makes you a better cheater. You know what would work and what wouldn't. People who cheat who aren't familiar with the game get caught almost immediately because it's clear they don't know how the game operates.
And so, what I was trying to bring up initially was that this is when Mr. Beast got popular, was the advent of all these cheating videos getting exposed. And so, the interesting thing about Mr. Beast is he might not be faking any of it. He might be faking
Yeah,
or embellishing some portions of it, but the interesting thing is if he's not faking any of it, one, that would make him the exception, and two, he'd basically be a living saint walking amongst mere mortals.
I know. I wanted to actually touch on that. I wanted to say I almost feel bad accusing him of faking because I think if what he does is genuine, that it's great. I think, all the stuff that he gives away, I'm full in support of that. So I'm always hesitant to critique him because I'm like, well, that's a great thing to do, but are you lying? I don't
Right?
know.
It's a really fascinating situation. And, maybe he's not cheating or faking. Maybe he is faking. And if he's not faking, okay, well, my apologies to him for even making the video. But um, at the end of the day, I think we should be able to talk about these things. And it's important to talk about them because even if he's not faking, I think it's important for people to look at other creators who purport to be saint like or this altruistic and examine them with a critical eye. Um, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh yeah, for sure. And like I said, that's why I was trying to touch on other YouTubers because I don't want this video to just be like, trash talking on Mr. Beast. He makes some entertaining videos. I've thought some of his videos were entertaining. I personally have no vendetta against him, but I am a truth seeker. And I know that sounds cringe to say sometimes, but I am a truth seeker and I I like to know if what I'm watching is genuine. So that's why this is important to me. Now every time I ask or every time I watch a new person, I ask myself, what's the likelihood of this video being fake? And it's something that I answer most of the time. I'm like, well, I think it's pretty fake. The unfortunate reality that I've run into on social media is that almost every time I ask myself that question, I realize how easy and practical it would be for these people to fake it instead of getting a genuine reaction or a genuine competition or whatever it may be that they're doing in that video.
All right. Let's move on to the next topic, which is let's go look at some actual real examples of whether or not he fakes his videos. I have not seen all of Mr. Beast's videos. I've seen a few. Um, the reason I haven't watched a lot is because I think most of them are clickbait, and I try not to support that kind of thing. But I have fallen prey to the occasional Mr. Beast video. One of them that stuck out to me as just glaringly fake was where he purports to destroy his brother's house. And in full transparency, I asked you to watch this video ahead of time so that
Yep.
we could have an educated conversation or an informed
And
conversation on this.
I guess I'll say my experience with Mr. Beast. Honestly, I have not watched the majority of his videos. I've probably only watched about 5 to 10% of the videos he's made since he got popular to now, which is still probably 20 plus videos. But I had definitely have not seen every single video, um, and I had not seen this one until you sent it to me to watch. So um, yeah.
So, as a precursor, this video purports to have Mr. Beast and his crew go to Mr. Beast's brother's house and basically fill it up with elephant toothpaste and in some make it, I don't want to say destroy the house, but it would ruin the house tremendously. Not, it wouldn't be unsalvageable, but the idea is that he's going to explode this his brother's house and buy his brother a new house. The oddities, and we'll get to that. We'll nitpick at them as they develop. But one, that doesn't look like Mr. Beast's brother's house in the sense that it's bare bones. There's nothing in it. Everything is super modest. Even the house is super modest for the brother of,
A
uh,
multimillionaire.
yeah, multimillionaire. Additionally, some of the frames that they use, some of the shots that they use, just seem exaggerated and embellished. And we'll talk about this as they develop. So, unless you have anything to say before we start, I'm just going to play some of the clips I'd like to talk about.
I know I'm ready. Let's delve into it. I feel like I chatted a
Okay.
bunch, so ready to
I'm,
actually review some of the footage.
I might fast forward and rewind a bit, but we'll
Today,
see.
we are filling my brother's house with elephant toothpaste. And then we're gonna surprise him with a brand new house. And you might be wondering, why? Well, I caught wind that my brother is covering Carl's house with toothpaste. That is, if you take he did that, we filled his.
Okay, so there's going to be some giant explosion here, but I want to comment right off the bat. I won't consider the giant explosion a fakery. Now, I will note that one, they're doing it in a residential neighborhood. Looks like they put this barricade up
Yeah, barrier or something. I noticed
so it
that too when
doesn't
I watched it.
overflow into the other location. They claim that that they had originally went inside his house and taken all his valuables and stored them somewhere. I don't see anywhere that they would have stored them. Maybe brought them to the new house, but as we'll see later,
Yeah.
the new house is completely empty inside. Really, um,
I mean, I'll just say this: Mr. Beast's brother gotta have a computer set up, right? That
right?
boy's gotta be a gamer. So
Absolutely.
if the gaming setup's not here and it's not in the new house, where's the gaming setup? Where's the gaming setup? That's something that I noticed. I was like, hold on, where's
So
your computer? I always look for the computer, you know?
if his brother knew that they were going to do this, would you consider it fake or real?
Oh, fake.
I agree, completely fake. So
Like I said earlier,
go
this is
ahead.
one of the videos where it hinges on the reaction. This hinges on his brother's reaction.
So how do you accomplish this? Get so many vats of elephant toothpaste, camera crew. Apparently, they've got drones in the air. They've taken all the stuff out of his house. How do you do that or accomplish that without your brother ever catching wind of it? The police aren't concerned that you're taking all this stuff out of somebody's house. The neighbors aren't concerned that you're doing this. Have you told the neighbors? I don't know. It just seems
Right,
extremely
it just
peculiar.
feels like a lot of information that maybe he should have included to take the sus level off, you know what I mean? If he had shown us that he had taken these precautions, he didn't actually show us how he tricked his brother into not looking at his house for a few hours, you know what I mean?
Right. Well,
Where's his brother right now?
in the video, he claims that his brother is pranking some other crew member, Carl or something. His
Right,
brother's
but
at
I mean,
Carl's house.
I feel like this is more than just a one-day operation. I mean, I've
Absolutely.
moved before, and moving does not take one day. Moving
The
takes a
interesting thing
lot of
about this
days.
video is they also include Mark Rober, and Mark Rober is typically seen as a super authentic kind of content
Yeah.
creator. So it'd be interesting if he was in on this fakery as well. So let's just watch a little
And
more.
then that calls into question if he's willing to fake it for Mr. Beast. Is Mark also faking his videos?
Right? Makes you wonder.
His house with elephant toothpaste. Prank inception. If you take this and pour it in this, you get elephant toothpaste. That is insane. Look at it. Now it's hardly any. And if you
No, I
take
think that was a
1,000
genuine
times
reaction. That was just a science
Right.
experiment.
So I
And
do
I
want.
think this is genuine right here too.
Right. I think this is genuine. This is an important scene. There are, what, two vats?
hardly any. And if you take 1,000
Yeah, two
times
in the
that,
shed.
So he's got two in here. And note what it looks like when it's coming out of the window.
Oh my goodness.
Just how it looks in general, it's very flowy. It's
It
very
just kind of oozes out.
It looks like that lava that just like slow
Right.
flows, you know.
It moves like lava.
Oh my goodness. You get this. And what you just saw is nothing compared to what we're gonna do to my brother's house.
Dude, it might blow the roof off.
There's enough in these barrels to fill 5 houses, and my brother only has 1, so we'll use a little less. And because we have so much elephant toothpaste, I had to bring in an expert.
That's me.
Do you mind moving, Carl?
I'm the expert.
Okay, we're not gonna watch the video in its entirety.
Yes, we are.
We're gonna look at certain components. So this is supposedly the bedroom. All we see is one dresser or chest of drawer, a couple pieces of scattered clothes, a bed on the floor, and
And here's what I wanted to ask. Sorry
a
to interrupt.
shirt on the fan.
They said they had removed his valuables. I would be really mad if my clothes did not get removed. If this was actually happening to me, if my clothes, you know what I mean? These are my clothes. I wear these.
Mm-hmm.
So did they actually remove the valuables, or you know, is this just, did they plant those there to make it look like there were valuables there? I don't know. I'm just saying, I'm surprised that if they genuinely were removing the valuables from the house, they would not also remove his clothing from the house.
Right. I agree. And also, here's his bare bones bathroom. I guess a blue Solo cup in there. And everything looks like it's just brand new.
I mean, they removed more from the bathroom than they did from his bedroom.
like this is the
But also,
cleanest
yeah.
bachelor house I've ever seen. The window,
Right?
the mirror is completely clean. Everything's clean. I wonder if they did
I
them
didn't even. Oh
solid
my gosh! I
and
didn't even.
cleaned
I
everything
didn't
before.
even notice. I didn't even notice that the mirror is completely clean. My bathroom mirror is not clean right now.
So remember how it oozed out of the shack? Watch how it leaves the bathroom window here.
Oh, I think so. Oh, I think so.
It's just like projectile vomit spewing out of the
You know what's
window.
weird? From the interior, it doesn't even look like that's what's happening. From the interior cam that we just saw, it looks like it's slow flowing, but then they switch to the out, and it's just like that cannon.
Right.
Noted.
So we're gonna skip ahead to They just goof around, and then they at one point wonder if what's happening is legal, which is a weird thing to wonder, unless, they had their brother's permission before doing this. And now we're going to see the actual, explosion that they had set up.
Oh my gosh, here it goes.
And again, the thing to watch here is it's going to projectile vomit explode out of every window, which is not consistent with what we saw in what happened with the shack.
The shed. Yes. And like I said, can you rewind it when it start from the interior camera when it's going out the living room? It
Sure.
looks like it's slow flowing from the interior camera. Just watch the window. To me, it looks like it's going out slowly. It'll show better here. Look, doesn't that look slow to you?
It's kind of oozing out.
Yeah, but then the outside is like, oh, it's just shooting out.
Now this one looks like somebody's in the other room with like a leaf blower and
Well, yeah, that's what this one looks like. I mean, he did the experiment earlier in that little in the shed, and also in the I forgot what it's called, like the flask. He did that, and it was not chunky like that. It did not come out in little chunks. It was just a big mass.
Now look at his brother. His brother the entire time is laughing and smiling, going, "Oh, that's crazy." He supposedly doesn't know that this was being done to him. Also, he doesn't know that his valuables were removed from the house ahead of time. Wouldn't he be freaking out? Like, oh my god, my TV, my computer, oh my god, everything I own is in there.
That was the main point I had written, was that his brother's reaction is clearly scripted. If this was happening to me and I did not know that my valuables were removed from the house, I would be freaking out. But also, I have a counterpoint to my own point, and that is, would he suspect that his brother would remove the stuff before doing something like this to him? I did think about that. He is Mr. Beast's brother, so he clearly expects to get pranked on, maybe. And maybe he would know that his brother would take those precautions, and so he knows to just laugh about it. But still, it's just a little bit iffy. It just seems scripted to me. I think it's scripted. It just looks scripted.
Yeah, I mean, that face says it all. It's cringe.
Yeah. And the initial reaction, like the very first reaction when they're in the truck, it looks like he's acting. It looks like bad acting to me. He's like, "Oh, here it's happening. Let me act surprised and half smile for the camera while this is happening." It just seemed not genuine.
Yep. So I'm not going to belabor this video anymore. That covers the major points I wanted to hit on. One, I guess we can take a look at his brand new house at the end.
With no computer setup in it.
Oh my goodness. I still cannot believe that this is my new house.
Do you like this house? Because I could get you a different one if you're not happy.
No, I actually like this house. It's actually...
Yeah, so.
And that conversation at the end, I mean, here's my perspective, right? This is also clearly fake because they have time to get different camera angles. If this was a genuine conversation reaction, there would be no cuts. There would be no different angles. It would just be literally filming them talk. But no, they, it just seems so manufactured, I guess you could say.
Absolutely. I mean, I agree completely. I've said what I need to say here. Of course, you read the comments, and they're just loving Mr. Beast. Comments aren't loading. Oh, there we go. Epic. Oh, this is Mark Rober. But, it puts a bad taste in my mouth when Mark Rober's perpetuating deception like this, if it is deception.
Yeah, and I actually really like Mark's videos, and I've always considered them pretty genuine, because I'm like, how can you fake science in the way that he applies it? But now I'm really wondering. He's collaborating with people that I think are kind of fake. So.
Okay, so I'm going to close that video. I guess I need to pull up his train versus giant pit, because that's what we're going to talk about next. So we're going to move on to the next point of discussion, or the next example I'd like to cover. This is the one I didn't care so much for this video. and about whether or not it was real or fake. But I saw a lot of people actually questioning, how real is Mr. Beast because of this video, and so that's why I wanted to include it. It's the train versus the giant pit. And the main critique I saw was that a lot of people think either one, the giant pit was fake, two, the train was fake and the buses were fake, or three, the entire video was just CGI and it was all fake. I think it's some kind of blend between the two, personally. But let's take a look at what they're
Yeah.
talking about. And
I
what
mean,
are your
right
initial thoughts?
Yeah, right before we jump in, I watched the video in its entirety. I actually watched the entire thing, not even just the train parts of it. There are very clearly some CGI that, one, is intentional, and I'm fine with, but also there is some CGI that anybody can tell it's CGI if you used any editing program ever, and it's portrayed as real. Specifically at the end of the video, I'm not sure if you know what I'm talking about, but we'll get there when we get there.
Okay. Right off the bat, thumbnail, fake, but
That's not even the train.
Yeah.
Is that the train? That might be the train. Well, I
Supposedly
don't
the
think
train.
that's not the pit. That's not the pit.
That's
Also, the pit did
definitely
not
not
have
the
two.
pit.
It didn't have two railways.
I think it did, but it didn't look like that. But we'll see.
Okay.
I just bought this train and it is
So this right
That's
off the
fake.
bat, 100% fake. He is not standing next to a train moving that
And
speed.
here's the worst part. This is the kind of fake that I'm not okay with because he wants to make it look like he is when he's
Right.
not.
Now they
Okay,
zoom out.
There is the two railways. Okay.
Well, I don't even think that's the pit. Maybe it is, but
Wait, that's not the same pit.
yeah.
No, I don't think that is. I'm not sure. Okay, here's my other issue. This video is just so edited in general, it's hard to tell what I'm supposed to be looking for. You know what I mean? I just
countless cars, blowing up thousands of sticks of real dynamite, and even putting 10 jet engines on a car, just to show you the most.
Okay, can you pause here? This is clearly fake, but it's for a demonstrative purpose, and it's completely harmless, and I'm totally fine with it, because he's not trying to portray this as an actual overhead view of his setup. This is clearly a cartoon representation of it, and that's fine. It's
Right.
fake.
I
It's
don't
not-
even think.
it's
I don't
not-
even say. I wouldn't
yeah.
even say it's cartoon. This is like toy models, like little toy trees and toy buses, clay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Experiments of all time.
But it's fine. I mean, there's
Yeah,
no
I
issue
have
with
no
this
problem
kind of
with
fakery. But I just want to point that out because sometimes people say there's nothing fake in the video. Well, there clearly is, but it's
Right.
on a spectrum.
For this experiment, each of the boys will hide a dummy in my dinosaur.
Okay, we're gonna skip ahead towards the relevant stuff. So here's what the actual pit supposedly looks like.
Well, I'll tell you what, there are some less trees than we saw originally
Right.
around. Actually, wait, I want to see that sorry, can we take a moment to just look at okay. No trees immediately around the pit. Now go back to the very beginning when he was standing in front of the train and it shows it heading towards the pit. What is that? That's different.
Yep. Not accurate.
That is 100% entirely different.
Right.
So which pit's real and which one's fake? I guess this one's the fake one. Or are they both fake?
Right. And of course, we're gonna have people watching the video and they're like, "This is obviously like a stage setup, and you're nitpicking that, and therefore your critique is wrong." No, we're just analyzing and observing. This is one piece of many forms of evidence.
Yep, and I mean, I just want to reiterate that at the very start of that clip was when he acted like he was standing in front of the train, and that did not seem like intentional fakery. That seemed like the deceptive type of fakery to me.
Do you think he actually launched two or pulled two school buses into this? Is this real?
I'm watching it now. I already watched it, but I'll watch it again.
Because this is what a lot of people are claiming is CGI.
So, can I just say, right off the bat, I'll be honest with you, I don't know, and what makes me so frustrated is I feel like I cannot analyze this properly because of how edited he makes it. When it hits the ground, the camera shakes, and he takes like
Right.
a million cuts, a million different jump cuts. I feel like I can't do a proper analysis of whether or not this is actually what would happen because of how edited the video is.
Right. Show me the raw instance of it happening, and then do whatever little tweaks or Photoshop editing you want to do.
Yeah, I mean,
It's horns going off. We're gonna go investigate the bottom
Oops.
of the pit.
It's not fast forwarding like
No, I need to stop looking down this terror. Stop moving!
Now it should work. If you mess with the audio, it'll mess with the audio instead of the video.
Okay, we're gonna skip that. We'll move to the train portion.
Yeah, they do a lot of crazy stuff in this video, actually.
Take number 2. Oh, that's a perfect strike.
Then finally, at the very end, the train, and again, so much editing here. Just look at how many cuts there are.
Oh my God! Here it comes! Oh my God! Here it comes! Oh my God!
Oh, you said so many cuts.
I feel like I can't even watch if it's actually even going in the pit or not. That's how much editing there was, you know?
That might have been the coolest thing
That
I've
smoke
ever
does
seen in
not
my
look
life.
real to me on right now when I'm watching it. That looks a little weird.
Versus pit.
Did you see that smoke cloud that came out?
Yep.
Oh, right here. This is clearly fake. Drone flies overhead and then obvious CGI and they're running away from it like it's real.
Yeah, they're pretending like it's real.
Back that up. If any of y'all don't know, I'm pretty sure that's like the exact explosion that I found in my iMovie movie maker from when I was like 15 years old on my iPod. Like I could use this like asset for my for my videos. That's how fake that is. And did you guys see the drone at the start? Can you back it up a little bit more? Just what's the drone for? That was clearly fake too. It just appears out of nowhere. Oh man, it's just so fake, and they're acting like... So that's clearly fake, at least at the end. I hope everybody can see how just completely fabricated that is. If you can't,
Right.
I don't know how else to explain it to you.
Can't be helped.
I think anybody who has even looked at any editing program can tell that's a fake CGI explosion.
All right, let us talk about the Rosanna Pansino situation. You were following that for a bit. Do you want to give the explanation of what that's about?
Yeah, so basically, Mr. Beast was hosting this Creator Games. I'm sorry if I butcher the story a little bit. I actually can't read her things about it because she deleted it. Maybe you could pull it up.
I'll
But
get them pulled up. Who's Rosanna
was
Pansino,
hosting...
first of all?
Oh, yeah, she's a YouTuber. I used to watch her baking videos. She's very popular on the platform. And anybody who is into baking and culinary and also video games will probably have stumbled across her videos because she did this series called Nerdy Nummies, basically where she made video game themed sweets. Anyway, so that's who she is. She also does a lot more nowadays that I'm not familiar with. I actually hadn't heard of her again in years until this Mr. Beast situation popped up. So Mr. Beast hosted this thing called the Creator Games, and he invited all these YouTubers and creators to come play in this like massive hide and seek in this stadium. Okay. Well, in the top 3, do you remember who the top 3 were? I don't remember who the top 3 were. But she claims she placed... What did she place?
Third.
Yeah, she claims that she placed 3rd because Logan should have been disqualified because he was hiding in a place where he wasn't supposed to. Does that sound right? I think.
Not Logan. One of the others was, I think, the winner of the whole thing. I think Zach King.
Okay. Well, somebody was hiding in the
rafters.
ceiling. Yeah, and they shouldn't have been. So they should have been auto disqualified, and she should have been 3rd. Okay. But apparently,
someone else fell asleep.
yeah, which should have disqualified them too. So in the 3rd should have been Rosanna Pansino, and also another creator who corroborated the story, Quackity, should have been in the top 3 as well. But neither of them were in the top 3 in Mr. Beast's video. And we, people watched the video, people thought it was fine. But then 2 years after the video, Rosanna Pansino takes it to Twitter and she claims that she's tired of, staying silent or whatever, and she's gonna out Mr. Beast. But she also is like, I'm not gonna attack Mr. Beast. I'm just gonna share my experience. And she explains the whole situation, how she was supposed to be in the top 3 and so was Quackity, but they wanted to put her story is that they wanted to put 3 guys in there because of misogyny reasons. I don't think I don't think that's a valid. I think he wanted to put more popular people in there. So if the more popular people were girls, he would have put all girls in the top 3, right? I think Mr. Beast scripted who was going to be in the top 3 for clout reasons. And so I bought her story at first. That's what I'm getting at. I bought it at first. And then she took it all down. She literally removed everything. And now I'm like, you know, maybe I don't trust that anymore because I mean, it sounded good when she first said it, but now that she's taken it down and basically taken back everything she said, I'm not so sure. And I guess we will never be sure on that situation.
Right. My just initial take is that I think her story is probably true and accurate. Mr. Beast never refuted it or came out and explained that she's lying or anything to that degree. Also, none of the other creators who were involved with it came out and said that Rosanna was lying. I think if she was lying, people would just be exposing the heck out of it.
Yeah.
I think she tried to turn it into this patriarchy boys club type of thing, and that got her a lot of heat. One thing that I saw that was interesting was there's been a lot of like coverage over this, and people have posted screenshots of Mr. Beast supposedly reaching out to Rosanna to resolve it. Um, and most of the screenshots seem consistent, but then there's like this series of screenshots of the text messages. And this one variation doesn't seem consistent, and it's actually if you refute Pansino's story, this would be one piece of evidence, right or wrong. It might be confirmation bias, but it's one piece of evidence that's actually in support of Mr. Beast not faking it. And what I mean by that is, if we read through it, supposedly Mr. Beast is reaching out to her saying, "Hey, I'd like to talk over the phone. Can we resolve this?" And Pansino just responds saying, "Oh, I was so hurt. Why would you do this? I just want to text about it." Because she doesn't call him, at least per these text messages. But if you read it word for word at the bottom of this text message over here, the third screenshot, I'm more than happy. This is supposedly from Mr. Beast. I'm more than happy to review all the raw footage to help show the timeline of events. Feel free to. Okay, nothing unusual there. But
Okay.
if you read this fourth screenshot, it says, "I'm more than happy to review all the raw footage to help show the timeline of events. Fell free to."
Hmm. And this is why it sucks that we can't refer back to her original tweet because I want to know if that was in her original tweet.
Yeah, and so like basically this doesn't seem edited. I don't know that it would. I think it would show edited if it was. And why would you edit the
The typo.
the typo to be a typo? And so suppose I mean this looks like somebody fabricated this series of conversations. Okay, so the that's the text messages. If these are actually the text messages, then they're not because somebody either edited it or modified it. Even the spacing looks different. It's almost like someone took the blue here and then just typed within it. Because look at like the distance from like the top of the word give here and here. Like it's
Oh, that
smaller.
is
It's
kind of
definitely
weird.
smaller here. You see that?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, I
no
do see that.
I'm no text message expert, but I'm willing to bet if somebody knows how this works, they could probably measure and form some kind of conclusion. That being said, there are also versions of the text message, like this one, where it's consistent. Feel free. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to make of it. Somebody somewhere fabricated some of them. For what purpose? I don't know. Um, but I'm not going to belabor that. I think the
But
Pansino
yeah.
situation's accurate. I think she was telling the truth. I think she had a narrative in her head that she wanted to push, though, and it hurt her credibility.
Yeah, I think her approach was totally wrong. If she had just been, more neutral, I think that she could have had a stronger case, and she could have actually gotten some other people in on her side, because whenever you take a very anti-men approach, men don't want to support your point. I would say.
I agree. So, let's move on to instances where like so um, people actually receive their money. Um, One thing I wanted to comment on is when I first heard about Mr. Beast, I didn't think he was actually giving away the money he claimed to be giving away. Maybe he was giving away some lesser amount or whatever, but I thought that that was like the fake narrative. But then I was waiting for people to come out of the woodworks to say he didn't give money or whatever, but that never happened. So I had one of several theories. One, he had everyone sign NDAs and they agreed to some lesser amount of money. Two, he actually was giving the money away that he claimed to be giving away. Three, um, the people he had in his videos were hired hands, and so um, they work for him and would not reveal that he wasn't giving the money away in those instances, and they agreed to some lesser amount. But then you get content creators who supposedly win money. This guy was waiting for $450,000. And so I'm gonna like fast forward. He waited 25 days, and then this happened.
No way. That's crazy.
450,000.
So he
And
shows a screenshot
yeah,
of his bank statement where
I,
he
I will
supposedly
say,
receives $450,000.
I will say, as a Wells Fargo user of the mobile app specifically, looks legit.
Yeah, so this is somebody who received the exact amount, or at least claims to, that he supposedly won. So, I mean, to Mr. Beast's credit, it seems like this is legitimate.
But now hold up. Is this dude expected to pay the taxes on that? Because I don't see any taxes deduced.
Deducted, yeah.
Oh,
So,
deducted. Yeah, sorry.
yeah, so here's an example of Mr. Beast talking about taxes. This guy supposedly won some lesser amount of $1 million. I think he gave some away or something. They'll kind of explain it here in the video.
$3,000. So now this video is going to get a little more serious because obviously Mark needs to set aside money for taxes and also do some investing. So Mark didn't actually receive all $1 million because he gave Chandler $100,000 and Jeremy $50,000. So what he got is $850,000. So Mark wants to set aside $340,000, basically 40%, just to make sure all his tax liabilities are covered. But now let's talk about Chandler. You spent $16,000 at Best Buy and $44,000 on bills. So you spent 60. So you spent you spent 60 grand. Jeremy spent $30,000 and then set aside 20 grand for taxes. So that's another 50,000. So that is exactly where 923,000 of the $1 million went. I'm trying to be as transparent as possible because I know a lot of you won't believe me that I gave away $1 million, but I'm literally showing you right here. We did. You really did. You have 77 grand left. I know you talked about wanting to maybe invest 50K and then set aside like the other 23 for just other little nuances here and there. And to be 100% honest, we went into an investing firm and they told us we couldn't record. So you'll have to meet with the financial expert on your own. I really wanted to show you guys where all the money went. I'm gonna just close this.
That's $1 million.
That's where the $1 million.
So, that's Mr. Beast talking about how he supposedly talks to his winners about taxes and how much they need to set aside, things of that nature. I mean, does it seem authentic to you, fake to you? What are your thoughts?
I mean, that did not seem disingenuous. That seemed like the most authentic I've ever seen him, actually. And I do appreciate him showing that. I wish he would show more of it. He kind of said that he can't because they won't allow him to record, but I definitely think he could have shown a little more of the process. But I would definitely like to see him do more stuff where he shows the transparency there. I think that transparency is needed if he's going to actually claim that he did this stuff.
I agree. And in this kind of industry, the more transparency, the better. Speaking of transparency, let's listen to him briefly talk about his taxes. This now, to be fair, this is recorded 4 years ago. And I think the interview was right around that time. So here we go.
Give away so much money.
Yeah.
I hope that that's all deductible.
I do too. If it's not, which
that is brutal.
if it's not, I might have a GoFundMe coming up, but we'll see because this year's taxes are coming up, and that's when it's gonna. I mean, like millions of
You're
dollars.
about to find
yeah,
out
I'm gonna be,
how
yeah,
bad you got it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we have it all documented. We have receipts and stuff, but it's like the hard part is like when I give my boys $100,000 to spend. Like I just brought that video up. Who pays taxes on it, right? Them. They can't pay taxes on it, so then I guess I have to pick it up. But it's not. I gave away the money, so it's like it's rough.
If I was your accountant and I'm not at all
they all tell me just to
qualified,
throw the taxes on my boys, but like that's kind of shitty.
they
So
tell you don't. They tell you what?
like someone has to pay taxes if I give away money. Either
If you say, and you're in the video, you're like, here's $40,000. Someone has to pay taxes on that.
yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Either me or them for the
man.
most part. So I don't know how that's gonna.
And that's even like if
So in this video, it seems like he doesn't know how the taxes are going to work with what he's doing with his business model, which is
And that's a little
terrifying.
sus to me. Yeah. I
You
mean,
know,
if he's actually dealing with money in that quantity, he could be in big trouble if he doesn't understand how to pay the taxes on it.
right. And so it's bizarre because either the people who won the money during those periods of times got screwed because they weren't, made aware of the fact that they were going to have to pay taxes on their winnings, which sounds like it was the case because in the other video we watched, a more recent one, he was telling that guy that you're gonna have to pay taxes out of this $1 million. So you have to set aside
Yeah.
340 some thousand.
It almost feels like what he was telling that guy was something that he learned to say after he started making these types of videos.
Right. So yeah, it's just interesting that somebody in this line of work has no idea what the tax implications are going to be. You'd think maybe he would talk to an accountant or someone ahead of time, or maybe he's just so busy with what he does that he didn't care to do it.
But I will say, clearly it's working because he would have been in trouble by now.
Well, assuming he's actually giving
this was
the money
4
away.
years ago. Oh, that's
Right.
true. Yeah, that's all on the assumption that he's giving the money away.
So another thing I have right here is a picture of the dollar bills that he supposedly uses. So a lot of the money in the videos is not real money; it's fake money.
I think we touched on that at the very beginning, or I brought that up.
Right, it says motion picture production. In some, like he claims it's security. It's for security purposes, basically, because if they use real money, people could be mugged. One, it's illegal to damage, or two, it's illegal to damage U.S. money, things like that. I don't really have a problem with prop money, but
I don't either. I just wish there was more transparency about it.
yeah, just be transparent about it.
Because, and I guess I want to touch on that next. His audience is very young. I bet you a majority of his audience has no idea that this is fake money.
Right. So let's talk about his audience. What do you think his target audience is?
I think that his audience is between the ages of like 7 to 17, roughly.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard 7 and 8-year-olds talking about Mr. Beast. I'd say he reaches an audience from 8 to 14, and perhaps a bit older than that. Does that change your viewpoint on how fake or edited his videos should be or are?
I mean, I will say it's a lot easier to dupe people who are younger and less wise and haven't been around for as long compared to adults. So the fact that he does target his stuff towards kids makes it easier for him to get away with fakery if he is faking it.
And I agree. A couple more talking points before we wrap things up and come up with our final conclusions. There have been allegations that he hires employees that work for him, and that this is some type of compensation for them for being his employees, and that's also perhaps why people aren't as dramatic or freaking out as much when they win, because they already have some prearranged amount that he's agreed to give them. Does that change your viewpoint, if that's true, on whether or not he fakes his videos?
Oh, absolutely. And I've actually, I mean, out of the 20 plus videos that I watched 2 challenges where he brought the same like 5 contestants back in those like hunter group challenges, and I was like, huh, I've seen those 5 people before. Turns out they were previous contestants, and I'm just wondering if this is genuinely just supposed to be a pool of 100 random people trying for a chance at this large amount of money. Wouldn't you want to give everybody a chance? Why are you bringing back repeats? It almost made me wonder if those people were his employees and they're there to make the challenges look more interesting than they are.
Right.
I
There
don't know,
were
just a thought. I don't really have enough concrete for that, but I did
right.
notice
No,
it.
it's that's the point of this is we can share passing thoughts that otherwise don't really get discussed much. Um, he made one video called "Curing Blindness," um, where he supposedly helped people see who were otherwise blind. If I remember right, they had I can't remember if they had cataracts or needed LASIK. Um, what do you think about clickbait titles like that? I don't think they were fully blind, but I think he helped with corrective eye surgery and things like that.
I mean, I'll just say, I mean, just as a general statement, the word blind does not inherently mean that somebody's totally blind. Blindness is actually a spectrum. So there are people with, very little vision loss or like almost total vision loss. So saying 1,000 blind people might be accurate, but it also might be a little clickbait because most people don't know that blindness is actually a spectrum. I only know that because I actually follow a few blind creators, and so they kind of talk about that.
Now,
But anyway,
go ahead.
oh, I was just going to say, I think it's great if he actually did this. This was kind of what I touched on at the very start. I would, fully support this if he actually donated to help people with their medical needs. I mean, especially in the US, medical stuff can be insanely expensive. This is truly life-changing stuff that he can do for these people. But if it's fake, that's a really scummy way to fake a video for clout. Like really scummy. This is when it gets like borderline too much for me.
I agree. My sentiments are basically if you're gonna fake videos, okay, fine. There's certain things you can fake that are more forgivable. For example, um, driving a train into a pit. If he faked that, if it was all CGI, whatever. People get what they bargained for.
Mm-hmm.
But if he faked this, curing 1,000 people or 1,000 blind people see for the first time, if he faked his involvement in this, to me that would be the equivalent or somewhat the equivalent of something like stolen valor, where people pretend to be in the military for the, like you said, the clout or the prestige associated with that status.
Yeah.
And so he's basically pretending like he's doing this oh goodness, philanthrop. I can't even say it.
Philanthropist
Well,
or
yes, philanthropic type of thing. But
okay, philanthropic.
yeah, basically he's purported to be a philanthropist, but he's not. If he faked it, he's just trying to steal the valor associated with
And
that
I've
title.
heard some people say, "Oh, well, if I had this much money, if I was this rich, I would do it. I would 100% do it." But I actually just want to know, how does he have this much money? Is it truly just from ad revenue and sponsors? I just find that so hard to believe. This stuff takes a lot of budget. Where is he getting the money?
From what I've seen of him in interviews, at least in the past, he claims that he doesn't have a lot of money. He actually just reinvests everything he gets, or just about everything he gets. But of course, that's not what, that's not what Google will say if you Google Mr. Beast's net worth.
Yeah, it's like 500 million,
Several
right?
hundred mil, yeah. So either he's lying, or that's outdated, or they're calculating things like the value of his business or whatever. So I
I
don't
mean,
know.
I don't know where he gets his money. I hear people say, "Oh, it's just sponsors, it's sponsors, sponsors," but it's like, how many companies just willing to throw out this much dollar? I don't. I'm just trying to imagine like which companies are giving him the budget for some of these videos.
Exactly. So
And
let's
I
wrap.
know
Go
he
ahead.
has his. I was just gonna say he has his own companies. He has like the Mr. Beast chocolate bars, right? I'm sure
Yes.
that's giving him a decent chunk of money, but I'm still just. I mean, I look at some of the production value on these videos, and it is massive.
Right. I mean, he supposedly has he's made a bank that gives you money. He's, I don't know.
He does crazy stuff, and he uploads so frequently for doing it.
He really does. So let's wrap things up with final thoughts on Mr. Beast. I guess I'll start and say that
Okay.
if what he's doing is mostly real, or if what he's doing is mostly real, he's the greatest human who's ever walked the planet. With how much he's changed lives and helped the world. I suspect, if I had to put a number on it, if you ask me my honest to God um, viewpoint on it, I would say that 80% of his content is scripted or fabricated to some degree, or just outright fake. I do believe that, interwoven in the fakery is shards of truth, and there is some real money being given away and some good being done, but I don't think it's nearly to the degree that is portrayed. That's my thoughts on that.
I guess my thoughts, I mean, I'm going to sound pretty repetitive because we basically agree on this topic, but yeah, I mean, I think the majority of his stuff has some level of fakery in it. And I think specifically, if not the money, honestly, I could not tell you my position on the money. I'm not sure if the money's actually being given away or not. It's just so hard for me to tell because we do have people who claim to get it, and there's nobody saying that they didn't get their money. So as far as the money goes, I'm pretty undecided, leaning towards he actually did give away the money. That's where I lean towards. But in regards to like the genuineness of the entertainment, I think he scripts almost everything. Literally almost everything. I think every video has a script. I think every video has a fixed outcome, and that's just how it is. I think the money is a part of it, and sometimes the money might just be fake too. But I don't think it's totally fake because again, we saw that video where the dude actually got 450 grand, which is a lot of money. So, yeah, I mean, I think that almost everything is scripted, but I'm not sure if the money is genuine or not. That's my basic take.
Well, thank you for sharing your takes. I think in a lot of ways we agree and have a lot of similar concerns, but I always
Oh,
invite counterpoints and counter arguments. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, and inherently scripting videos is not, a super big deal. Like I just won't watch those types of videos if I can find out that they're scripted. But I think because his audience is so young that it does more damage than most people realize. Because people like kids are growing up thinking that this is actually how stuff works, and it's like no, it's not. The videos look more exciting than real life actually is because they're scripted videos. They're scripted to be more entertaining than they actually would be if they were real. And
Right. A
I think
lot.
that's a problem whenever kids believe him when, I mean, he's basically just if he scripts everything, he is doing a really good job taking advantage of how naive his younger audience can be.
Right. And a lot of people who talk about this topic, or a lot of the responses I've gotten in the past over people who fake their videos, is the people comment and respond by saying, why do you care? It doesn't matter if it's fake or real. It's entertainment. It shouldn't matter whether it's fake or real. Okay, if that's the case, then why not be transparent about whether it's fake or real? Because the creators know, and they know, the audience knows, that if they were to be transparent about the fact that it's fake, people would not watch it nearly to the degree that they are watching it.
Absolutely.
So,
And
um,
I think we should make a future video about Dream just to specifically talk about that because I've actually gotten into a lot of debates with people who watch Dream's videos saying the exact same thing you just said. Oh, what even if it is fake, what does it matter? I like the videos, they're entertaining. And it's like if you thought they were fake, you would not watch them, but you don't want to admit that. You don't want to admit that right now.
mhm. So, again, thank you for coming on and sharing your viewpoints on this controversial topic.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I always invite counterpoints and counter arguments. If anyone else who's listening to this would like to join in future discussions, we like to do deep dives. We like to explore conspiracy theories, and that's content that we're hoping to add to the channel in the future. If you have ideas on topics you'd like to see covered, or if you have thoughts on whether or not Mr. Beast fakes his videos, or if we didn't cover some important piece of evidence one way or the other, please post below, and I'm happy to examine that and maybe talk about it in the future. But thanks again for watching, and I hope you guys found it entertaining, if nothing else.